I don't have anything in my Venmo because I got trust issues. Okay.
That's fair.
I got trust issues.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what happens to that money. I mean, the large majority of people, millennials, who are using Venmo have a pretty decent balance in their Venmo account. I mean, it's used as a friendly way, peer-to-peer transactions for dinner, for golf course dues, one might call, label the transaction.
Yeah.
But
when you've had a rough day on the course, you might have to Venmo someone.
Yes. But I tend to pull that money out and put it into my bank account.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of get into not only Venmo, but all the other, entities or companies that house your money, in a variety of different ways, and kind of break down what are they doing with that money? Is it okay for me to have my money there?
Yeah.
And get into that. So let's talk. Are you a Venmo guy or a Cash App?
No, I started as a Cash App guy. Honestly, I just kind of liked the user face.
Green's my favorite.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. And then, it just felt like as far as the peer-to-peer payments, everyone else had Venmo. So
you wanted to be different.
I did initially wanted to be different, but...
Because you were losing so much money on the golf course. You did. Guys, I don't have Venmo.
Hey, sorry, guys.
I ain't got it.
That's right.
Just keep a mental tab, and then you just ghost them. You haven't talked to them in years.
That's right. No, I just kept a baggie full of cash just in case. But no, and then, and then Venmo, obviously, it feels like that one really took off, and that's where a lot of these peer-to-peer payments are made through. So I've transitioned to a Venmo guy.
I'm a Venmo guy. Yeah. I am. So Venmo was bought by PayPal.
Yes.
I don't know, some odd years ago. PayPal's been around for a while.
Yeah.
But kind of that same idea of just peer-to-peer transactions.
Yeah, it was a payment processor.
Right. Right. And so I want you to give a guess as to how much, between PayPal and Venmo, how much money is stored in those balances today.
Yeah, that's...
Well, I can't say today. I don't have the number today.
You're not up to date?
I'm not, based on this article that was written sometime.
Well, I don't know. I know it's a ridiculously large sum.
Correct.
I don't know.
Good job. You got it.
Okay. I mean, are we millions or are we above that?
Above.
You serious?
$38 billion.
Billion with a B?
BBB.
You're kidding.
$38 billion stored in Venmo and PayPal accounts. So
that's insane.
Do you have any idea what they're doing with that? I mean, Venmo, are they making money off of that or any other ways?
Yeah.
They're making other ways? Well, obviously, they're going to do something with that.
Yeah.
They make small percentages. They've got the instant transfer and things like that. But what are they doing with those balances?
Well, yeah. First of all, it's a great question and a really interesting topic because, like you said, they're kind of operating as a pseudo bank. And when let's say you Venmo me, let's say I actually won something more than $0. You Venmo me $1. Well, a lot of times that may either come from a pre-stored balance that you have in that app, or you'll pull it out of your checking account and send it to me, and it takes maybe a day, maybe two to process, come to me, and then I may take some time or let it build up a balance in my app and then, either pay other people through that or transfer it to my bank account, but all that time and that cash or that those dollars are sitting in the app, they're making money on those funds. So yes, they're earning interest in some way, shape, or form. No. It's pretty impressive actually how they are able to sustain that model, and maybe a little scary too, to be honest with you. So,
Yeah. Well, the reality is if I Venmo you $1 from my balance,
yeah,
it goes to your balance. Nothing changes for them, right? The only thing that's going to hit them is if we actually transfer it to our bank accounts.
sure,
That's when it leaves their balance sheet.
sure,
So I know that they're doing a lot to, make, well, I say a lot. The terms of service that you scroll through on every app?
Yeah, that's ridiculously long.
Yeah.
Yes.
It discloses in there
It does.
that, hey, we're going to use some of this cash while it's just sitting here. Now, as opposed to how a bank invests their money, Venmo invests in a lot shorter term or, ways that they can quickly withdraw that cash.
Yeah.
What would examples of that be?
Oh gosh, you're probably putting it in. Well, obviously Venmo has a bank, right?
Yeah.
And so they're holding these funds in a bank. When they're fluid in from your account to mine or however, vice versa. So they're actually being held in a bank. But it's, I'm sure they're short-term investments, all sorts of different things. But they're making money, in ways that they can obviously liquidate it quickly. So.
Well, I guess similarly to a bank, people could all withdraw their cash at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I think the real risk there is actually just the fact that it's uninsured.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, Venmo could crash tomorrow, and you would lose every dollar that you had. Let's say you you kept $500 balance in Venmo. I have no idea what the average balance that people keep is, but I bet you it's a lot. It's probably a lot higher than we think. If you kept that amount in there, you're going to lose all of that. I mean, it's uninsured. They're not a bank. They don't have the same FDIC insurance that that a bank would. So that's an interesting little tidbit that is probably why you mentioned at the beginning that you have trust issues. Well, there may be other reasons for that, but that I think people need to be aware of, but also could be a concern.
Yeah. Average balance I just looked up is $60.
Is it really? So that's crazy. I mean, I wonder how many users they have. I mean, probably millions of users at $60, per person is 7 million. That they have 7 million users.
Processed 230 billion in 2020. That's payments between each other.
I mean, that's crazy. So think about how much cash is going in and out of that system, and how much money. Obviously, it's a successful product, or they wouldn't still be doing it, right?
Yes, I love Venmo.
I mean, yeah, and I do too, and I think it serves a great purpose. And so, I think that's just it's interesting. It's interesting how it all works.
On the uninsured piece, I know that for your average consumer, $60 on average. Let's say Venmo were to crash, not the biggest deal. But I know that they're trying to
recover.
You'll get over it.
Yeah.
But I know that they are trying to get more and more into businesses.
Yeah.
One of the big ways is payment processing. Obviously, teaming up with PayPal.
Yeah.
Trying to get on point of sales to where instead of the products that they're offering as a former payment processor.
That's right. That was your former life.
Merchant service rep.
That's right.
And we did this. We would have people basically integrate Clover to their point of sale, and you could pull up your phone, QR it, and then merchants all have to pay. It's called the discount rate.
Yes.
It's the price for swiping a credit card.
Yeah.
So Visa and MasterCard are all getting a small percentage every time that you swipe your card, and that goes back to the merchant. So take Unimaze, just a random business in the Northwest Arkansas community.
Total random. Yeah.
Unimaze takes a Visa credit card or debit card, and then they've got to pay. It's normally about 2 to 4% based on the kind of card.
Right.
Venmo is going to businesses and saying, "Hey, we'll do it for less."
Right. We'll do it for free.
Yeah, but
they offer a digital card as well, right? And that's essentially what we're talking about, right?
So, anyways, on the uninsured piece, imagine the balances. Not that many. Some food trucks and smaller businesses are strictly Venmo or Cash App,
right?
those balances could get up into the, have a good
Yeah.
day, $5,000-$10,000.
Several $1,000s.
You're a food truck at a music festival.
Yeah.
ACL, they're charging $20 for a hot dog. It might be $20,000 in a day.
Yeah.
To where you're uninsured and all of that. So it is risky.
Yeah.
As far as using it for a place to store your cash.
Sure. Yeah. Well, have you ever? I had a teacher tell me one time that that he went to go buy I think it was a washer dryer, and you're talking about these processing fees, right? That these credit card companies charge. He said, he went to them and said, since a lot of times that's a larger transaction, a couple $1,000, depending on what you're going to get, or several hundred, whatever. He said he would offer them cash and ask them for a 3% discount.
Yeah.
Or a 4% discount. So they didn't have to pay the processing fee on the back end. I thought that was really interesting that that was, I've never tried that anywhere, to be honest with you. I don't keep a lot of cash anyways. But I thought that was really, really interesting. And that a lot of people will do it, so they don't have to pay that fee on the back end. So.
Yeah. There's all kinds of regulations about it.
Yeah.
As far as what you can, list items for sale and as far as giving discounts for paying with cash. I've walked into some restaurants who say that, and then you go into some restaurants and they say, by the way, whatever your bill is, we're going to charge you 5% as a surcharge. And it's like, what in the world?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
a lot of options out there.
Yeah. Anyways, Venmo as a payment processor.
Yeah.
They're trying to get into that game.
Yeah.
And
and one of the interesting parts of it is, I think banks sort of feel them as a competitor or a potential competitor because of, the way that they're able to offer that kind of stuff. And, I know Bank of America has Zelle, that essentially does the same thing, but you have to be a part of that Zelle network to be able to, have the peer-to-peer. So same thing, you got to have Venmo. I got to have Venmo for Venmo to be a peer-to-peer payment option. But for Zelle, that you have to be a bank that, uses Zelle to be able to have that. So, if you're at Bank of America or another bank that has Zelle and I'm at a bank that doesn't, we can't use that. Even though it's safer, more secure, we can't use that. So it's interesting how that's working. And we'll see how it kind of fleshes out.
Yeah.
Through this kind of digital currency age.
Yeah.
So.
On the back end side, it does look a little differently with Zelle because you're moving money from one bank to another bank. There's no middle party.
Yeah, that's true.
Where it's uninsured. So I'm surprised as far as, I don't know if there's low education on it or people just aren't worried, don't care.
Yeah.
It's much more secure to do Zelle.
Much more secure. Yeah.
But you can't send, use emojis to send money via Zelle. And Venmo does appeal to millennials and the fact that it is a social media to an extent.
Honestly, it is.
You can go through, like, comment, use whatever emoji you want.
Yeah.
And anyways, just funny the way that it works. But Zelle is great as well.
Yeah.
So one of the things I also want to talk about is Apple.
Yeah.
Apple.
Kind of getting into the game, aren't they?
The company.
Yeah.
Not Apple's, which I do love. Top 5 fruit, which isn't saying much. There's only like 6, right? How many fruits are there?
I don't know. There's got to be more than 6 fruits.
There's like 6 berries alone.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
So we know that we have Apple Pay.
Yes.
Where you double click your power button, all your cards come up. Your Jimmy John's, buy 9 Italian stallions and you get a 10th free.
That sounds near.
That's not what it's
that
called.
Sounds
Italian nightclub is what it is.
That sounds near and dear to your heart.
I love Jimmy John's.
Yes.
Yeah. Some Miss Vicky chips.
Freaky fast.
Freaky fast.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it, but Apple is opening up or making available a savings account to all their Apple Card users. Now, I think that's different from Apple Pay.
Yes.
Yeah.
They offer a credit card, right? Like a specific Apple credit card. But yeah, I mean, obviously they have to go through a bank. I believe they're using Goldman Sachs to provide that. But yeah, now they're offering a savings account. Apple is offering a savings account.
Say it 3 times, and it
Apple.
won't be true.
I know. It's crazy. Well,
Is that a bad thing
well,
for banks across the country?
I don't know. I don't really know the answer to that, to be honest with you. I just think that it's interesting. You've been hearing murmurs specifically about Google kind of wanting to get into, they're wanting to kind of slide into the banking industry. I don't think everyone wants to get in, jump in head first. But as far as kind of dipping your toes into it, it can be a very lucrative option. And so you're kind of starting to see some of these social medias or these larger tech companies want to kind of get into banking and get into the payment processing world. And so, offering a credit card was a big step for Apple. And now the savings account is a huge step. And so we'll see what sort of impact it has, but unique. I mean, and it's a high yield savings account. Like it's a really good interest rate.
Yeah.
Especially comparative to the other banks out there. It's really totally different. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
For sure.
I was texting Tim the other day. They're really excited.
Tim. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot you knew him.
Tim Cook.
Yes.
He's
first name basis.
Yeah. Timmy. I lied. I made that up. I don't know Tim Cook.
Did his text messages show up in blue or are they green?
They're green.
Can
you
really?
believe that?
That's crazy.
Yeah, he's a Samsung guy. He's a Samsung guy.
He's Samsung. Well, that's interesting.
Google Pixel.
That's right. He likes the bigger screen.
Yeah. Okay, speaking of green.
Yeah.
Starbucks. I want to hit on them last. Starbucks, in the same light of housing your money in a kind of an odd way.
Yeah.
Starbucks has basically, I think last year, they've got a great app.
Yeah.
If you don't have the Starbucks app, go get the Starbucks app. But for their reward members, they offered some kind of incentive for you to get preloaded gift cards. And just by doing preloaded gift cards, they basically took on $1 billion with a B dollars.
Crazy.
0% interest paying on that money. And their total gift cards, that was just that rewards program. Their total gift cards are about $1.6 billion.
And that's preloaded on your app, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The amount of Starbucks gift cards I've lost.
Oh my gosh. I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, it's brilliant.
Yeah. They've got to be the kings of $5 gift cards.
Yeah. It's a great,
and I think now everything that you get there is at least $6.
They've got us.
King of $5 gift cards.
They've got us right where they want us.
Yeah, I know. They do.
But raising, not even raising money, but how does that business model affect a business or a retailer like Starbucks? Like what are they doing with that money as opposed to a Venmo? Yeah.
So this is the most interesting thing I think that is just never talked about. Okay. There are billions of dollars held in apps, specifically, preloaded cards, like you mentioned. And Starbucks is really kind of the one that I'm the most familiar with because my wife is a frequent Starbucks drinker. And I just asked her the other day, I was like, how much do you think you have sitting there in your Starbucks app? And depending on how many gift cards she's gotten, when we had the baby, she probably had $100 in her Starbucks app.
Yeah, that's good for like 2 or 3 drinks.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Good for her.
That's right.
They're going to be 2 or 3 good mornings.
She made a couple swings through the drive-thru, and that sucker was down to 0. But but no, I mean, this is what's so interesting. Starbucks is operating as a bank. Starbucks is operating as a bank, and they are holding those funds very similarly to Venmo, but they are just simply holding those funds and putting them in either investments or finding a way to make a return on those funds and holding them in whatever bank the Starbucks banks with, and I'm sure it's some sort of interest-bearing account and making money on gift card funds.
Yeah,
that's crazy to me.
I know.
I mean, and one of the things I think that's super interesting about it, I mean, and I'm sure we could name a bunch of different companies that do this. They're just, I know, one of the larger ones. If they've got several $billion, those are essentially bank deposits that are not held in banks, right? I mean, that's pretty much what they are.
Yeah.
And so, what's interesting about it all is that, with those being with banking and the industry and the way that it is, it's never had competitors like this before.
Yeah.
Ever. And so you're having to compete with Starbucks. I mean, how crazy is that to say? If you were to go to your board and go, hey, it's interesting. One of our largest competitors,
newest loyalty program.
They just supplied all
really hit us hard.
They just supplied all the coffee for us today. Yep. And so
those pumpkin spice lattes are coming around. We got to prepare for the fall.
That's right. But when I think it's hitting smaller banks specifically. I mean, smaller banks are the ones that are really the ones that are, needing deposits to continue to help fund growth in their own communities. And that's interesting that, I'm sure they're holding around $30 to $60 per person in there, and I bet you they have they probably got millions more than Venmo people that use their app.
Yeah,
that's just my assumption. I could be wrong, but those are all funds that are not being held within the banking within local banks or smaller banks.
And the brilliant thing about it is, and I think why Starbucks is kind of the top or the business that gets talked about when it comes to gift cards. Let's talk about Venmo. For them to release that cash, I mean, they've got to have cash on hand.
Right.
I mean, that's what they owe back to people.
Right.
For gift cards, Starbucks just needs coffee beans.
Yeah.
That's how they're going to, get that money back to whoever has pre-purchased their credit cards.
Right. Yeah.
Coffee beans and cake balls and
whatever else they sell.
Junk they've got. No, it's not junk. It's lovely. But, and also, here's a little stat. Why aren't all businesses doing this? Well, I mean, all businesses, good businesses offer gift cards.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Walmart. Walmart does 20 times more in sales annually than Starbucks.
Yeah.
But they have the same amount of gift card volume.
Yeah.
About $2 billion in gift cards.
Right.
So I think Starbucks has just taken that model and just.
Yeah. I mean, they've mastered it. And it's impressive what they're doing. But I mean, those are deposits that aren't being regulated the same way that a lot of banks are. And so it's interesting. It's a competitor. And it's one of those things that's just not well known. It's just really not talked about. So
yeah,
it's interesting though.
Who is that on the label?
I have no idea. I think it's a mermaid. I think it's a mermaid.
How did that ever happen?
I don't know. Or a siren. Siren. It's a siren.
Yeah, if you put your ear up, it'll sing a
melody. What's the difference between a mermaid and a siren, though?
Sirens will lure you into the water and then eat you. Huh. Mermaids just want to play in the
That's a significant
sand.
Difference.
Yeah.
We went dark there.
Sorry. I think am I wrong?
I think you're right.
You know your mythology. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're right. Okay, this brings us into, real quickly, our first segment ever done on this show.
Okay.
That I'm going to go ahead and title Questions. These are Google questions. So you type in something into Google.
Did you just make up a word?
No, I already called Webster. It's in the dictionary next year.
Okay.
It is. So yeah, I guess I did, but it's official. So you ever type something into Google, you scroll a little bit and it says, people may also ask.
Yes.
There's a bunch of 3 or 4 really relevant things. You click on one, you scroll, and there's 4 more. The bottom one starts to get a little squirrely, and as you keep scrolling, they get a little out of hand. So here's what I typed into Google. Starbucks funds in app. Okay, that's what I typed into Google.
Okay.
So here were some of the questions that people also asked. Okay. I want you to try to guess, or not guess, but answer some of these questions.
Okay.
So is Starbucks the biggest bank in the world? That was a question that people also asked. So
yes, they are.
You are
the
wrong,
largest.
Max. You were wrong. No, they are not the biggest bank in the world. Starbank. They're not.
Okay.
But if they were a bank, are you ready for this? This is going to be sad. They'd be the 385th largest bank.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's wild.
That's why people are asking. They're like,
Oh, yeah.
they're up there. They're top 500.
That's why we're talking about it.
They're just not the biggest yet. So, okay. People also ask, how much does one Starbucks make in a day?
Like one location?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's got to be very
It's less
depending on
than
where
it's
they're
less
at.
than you think, actually. Probably.
I don't know, like $4,000 a day.
3,800 a day. Give me
Hey,
some.
How about that? That's honestly.
For those of you listening, that was Max and I's fist pump exploding. 3.8K a day with a profit of $520 a day after everything.
Okay.
But you multiply that times all the restaurants,
Yeah,
they're doing okay.
I'm not really worried about Starbucks.
And all their stinking gift cards. Okay. People also ask, what is the most expensive drink in Starbucks?
Oh my gosh. I have no idea. Whatever my wife orders.
I don't. Yep. One of those. Does she get the super venti flat white?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm not one. I don't go that often, but isn't venti the biggest?
I have no idea. I was just about to ask
So
you
is
that.
a super venti like 50 times that maybe?
Is that like a gallon? Is that a gallon of coffee?
It could be. So it was 100. I should have asked you. I'm sorry. $148.99. That was the most expensive. Which is kind of reasonable for a super venti. If it's as big as I think.
Super venti. A super venti.
Yeah, one word.
I don't think that's on the menu, is it?
No, surely not.
Okay. It's an off-menu item.
It's an off-menu item. So $148. But
That's just...
okay.
You ought to be able to survive on that for a week.
Yeah. You don't have to drink anything. No, nothing.
$148.
I've always wondered that. Could you...
What it is, it's a venti.
170 shots of espresso. So it's a venti flat white with 170 shots of espresso.
Okay.
Oops. Espresso. I always get that wrong.
Espresso.
I'm not civilized. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Fascinating. That's a lot.
That'd
wake you up.
Yeah. That could kill you.
Yeah. It could.
That could kill you.
Maybe you.
I'm no
not,
doctor.
Not me.
But that could kill you.
Okay. People also ask, does Magic... Excuse me. I'm so excited for this one.
Okay.
Does Magic Johnson own Starbucks?
Oh, my goodness.
This is what people are asking.
I mean...
I don't make the rules. This is just a segment.
All right, so remind me again what you typed in.
I typed in Starbucks funds in app, and I kept clicking, and I kept clicking.
And you got, what? Does Magic Johnson own Starbucks?
Does Magic Johnson own Starbucks? I don't know how.
Oh, my goodness.
Do you have an answer?
I mean, no.
Actually, you're kind of wrong.
Does he own does he own stock in Starbucks or?
From 1998 to 2010, he owned 100 plus Starbucks. But
okay. So he owns
sold
some
them
locations.
and all of his stock for over 100 million.
Okay.
So
Well,
you're wrong.
that's interesting.
People are asking.
You never
It's
know.
just the segment.
You
I
never
don't
know.
make the rules. Okay. Can I stay in Starbucks for 5 hours? People want to know, are they loitering or not? I almost got a little Seinfeld there.
I think you can.
People want to know.
Yeah. What
So
do you know
bad.
the answer to that?
Yeah, they put out a statement.
What is the answer?
Starbucks, the siren said, we do not have any time limits for being in our stores. And then they said they want to be like an office space for everybody. So,
Well, that's good to know.
anyways,
Well,
thanks for doing that segment. That was fun.
That was fun.
We'll bring that one back.
Okay.
So,
We'll do that again.
okay, so that was a little wrap up on payment processing, funds held in apps, and
Yeah.
basically funds held outside of a bank
Yeah.
that aren't in cash. So,
Yeah, just interesting in that all those things are out there, and it's just really not talked about. So I appreciate you bringing it up. Enjoyed talking to you about it.
yeah, appreciate it.
All
Thank
right.
you, sir.
Thanks.